And P5 class, all right, just a little bit about me. All right, I'm Miss Ho, been teaching around for like a good 14 to 15 years. Yes, I'm old. We are learning a few things today. All right, or rather, these are mainly recaps from what we did previously. Right. In the last lesson, we will talk about seed dispersal and how they doing disperse, what kind of features do they have to actually help them in seed dispersal. So today we are more focusing on your open-ended questions. How do we actually answer open-ended questions, and mainly on your answering skills, right? So they actually help you for your exams. Right. So let's do a quick topic recap here. Right, like what you can see here is like animals, right? The first few things I'm gonna let it play, right? It's a video, I'm gonna let it play. So you can see over here is that animals, right? By animals, it will be sweet, juicy, fruits and brightly colored fruits. Why do you so is you want to attract, right? Attract the to go to the fruit and then eat the fruit. So it depends on the size of the seeds, right? If the seeds are really big, do you think the animal will be able to swallow the seed? They can't, right? Because the seed is too big. The seeds are too big, so they can't swallow it. That's why it end up they'll either spit it out, or literally tom and then throw away. All right. So some, if the seeds are very small, like papaya seeds and apple seeds, they'll probably swallow it down and pass out in their droppings. And of course, there are certain seeds that are, certain fruits that are inedible. If they're inedible, like, or even the seeds that have those hook, right? Hook or stiff hair, you cling onto that. So examples here, yes, you need to know at least some of the examples about how the fruits are being dispersed, fruits or seeds that are being dispersed. Okay, then of course, we also have water, right? If it's going to be by water, of course, you have this waterproof covering, right, or outer layer that prevents it from absorbing more water. So it basically helps it to float. I can think about your swimming float, which is actually waterproof. When what do you know about swimming float? Is that it is waterproof, plastic waterproof, and then it's trapped. There's a lot of air inside that actually help you to float. All right. Oh, very good. Some of you can answer my question. Pong pong. Pong pong. Someone is asking what is pong pong. Pong pong is actually a type of fruit, and back in probably in the 70s and 80s, we used to have a lot of pong pong fruits in Singapore. And what do they actually, not pong pong fruits, sorry, from pong pong trees. Now that they slowly are replacing it because pong pong fruits itself is actually poisonous. It was actually used as rat poison. All right, then of course we have wind, right? Dispersed by wind, they have to be light. In light, small, light. Of course, the wing-like structures, right, or parachute-like structures to help it be carried away by the wind. So little like wings, right, to help them to fly. Right, ansana, shorer, all this. Okay, so next one is splitting, right? Okay, so splitting itself, the fruits will actually split. The wall will actually split open when it ripe. So it actually dries up and then split open. So kaboom, split open. Okay, so examples are here. So let's move on what we are looking at today. All right, which of the following, okay, how are they actually being dispersed? So this is still a recap. Can anyone tell me about peas? What do we know about peas? How peas are being dispersed? How? Splitting. Splitting. Very good. Splitting. Yay. Splitting. What about lalang? So we says that my description of pong pong fruit sounds like coconut. You can think that it's a smaller version of coconut, but it's not edible. Yeah, lalang, very good. You all can tell me it's by weight. What about love grass? It's also lovely over there, the love grass. Right, it's the stiff hair or the hooks that actually help them to hook onto the floor of animals. All right. Then lotus. What about lotus? We are looking at how the seeds are being dispersed, like how you can see over here. Like all the seeds inside here, how the seeds are being dispersed, how the fruits are being dispersed. So they are being dispersed, and how are they being dispersed is by water. Don't think about it. They are living in the water. Right? Lotus is a water plant, so it lives inside the water. So it will actually naturally, then of course the seeds will have be dispersed by water. All right. So this is something that I understand from Mr. Lukman is that you have learned this method in December. No, it's not CED, it's your CER method. C is claim, right? You claim. basically you try to claim that thing, right? You're going to, or rather, if you can't think of C, you can make it as C is a choice. What are you going to choose, right? Because usually it's always like, know which one do you think it is, so it basically is to choose, okay? Then the next one is evidence, right? E is evidence, very good. A lot of you guys, Yi Xiang, Jaden, right? Mariam, is it? Did I pronounce it incorrectly? So evidence, right? Evidence is basically from, where can you find your evidence? Basically, it will be from the data given to you. From the question itself, that is your evidence. So you state down the evidence. Then, of course, the last one, reasoning, right? By reason, right? So how does the concepts that you have learned previously, how can you apply into this, right, to support your answer? So that's what you mean by CR. Okay, so the next one is cause and effect. When we talk about cause and effect, we are actually looking at what method is this? Right, we are looking at relationship method. Right, so usually we are looking at how your change variable, right? How the change variable affects the measured variable. Okay, okay. Right, how something is going to affect the other. All right, very good. Here comes our first bubble question. Are you ready? I'm going to give you 1 minute. Let's go. I realized that, according from what I understand, some of you choose 4. I'm so sad. It's already 1, 2, 3. Only you still choose 4. Oh my god. Okay, but we're going to look at 1, 2, and 3, right? So we're going to see what's wrong with. Some of you choose 2. Let me see. What's wrong with 2? Why did you choose 2? You choose 2 because you got mixed up between the stigma and the enter. Right? Some of you chose 2. Let's see. So A, right? If you look at A is pointing at this portion here. This is actually the enter. Oh no, I can't write properly today. All right, B is referring to the stigma. I have a feeling that you saw the line wrongly. All right, yeah, probably because of the line check. Okay, then C is obviously the filament and D is the ovary. All right, can? Hope you're okay. Then with that, I'll be nice. I'll be very, very nice. Let's move on to bubble number 2. Are you ready? I'm going to launch bubble 2 now. Ready, go. Let's go. You have 1 minute. Okay, most of you got it right. Right. Yeah, most of you got it right. Okay, the idea here of many seeds, right? When we are looking at many seeds, we are looking at where does the seed come from? The seeds are developed from the cells, from the ovules, right? The ovules, okay, ovules are the ones that will develop into seed. So how many seeds will you get? It will depend on how many ovules. So will this particular fruit have many seeds? If you look carefully over here at the diagram, you realize that it has many ovules. Right, so it has many ovules. Yeah, I'm gonna go down. Okay, this is how we're going to do when it comes to such questions. First part, will flower Z develops, right? Will flower Z develops into a fruit with many seeds. So we know that from the diagram, there is flower Z has many ovules, so it will have many seeds. So this will lead you to that. No, the first part will definitely be a yes. All right. Then followed by the next thing. We need to understand that seeds come from the ovules. So it will be looking at many ovules. Right, many ovules. Okay, so your answer for this will be number 3. Yay! Some of you choose 2 though. Right, it's not, it will not develop into many fruits. It's 1 ovary to 1 fruit. And the many seeds will be, the many ovules will become the seeds. Okay, we're going to look at our example 1. All right, can this pollinate by itself? Self-pollinate. Do you recall what is self-pollinate? No, okay. The part on self-pollination is not really in the syllabus, all right? It's just that certain schools, they tend to expand a little bit more. So, no, we're going to add in a little more additional something interesting for you to understand. Okay, certain flowers, they are able to self-pollinate. Within the same flower where the pollination takes place. It still need the male iman. It still need the male to reproduce, because for self-pollination, sometimes the flower itself will have both male and female parts, like what you can see, right? Like what you can see here in the diagram. They have both male and female reproductive parts, right? Reproductive organs. So it will be able to self-pollinate. So why is it able to self-pollinate? Is because the pollen within the flower, right, from the anther is able to be transferred to the stigma. Okay, so for this case, right, in order for the pollen to move to the stigma, means you want the pollen here, like the pollen, you want the pollen to go to the stigma. Is it possible? Is it possible? Don't look at something that's very important here. The very important thing here is, one very important thing here is that you need to look at the height difference. The anther is below the stigma. So if it's going to be below, right below here, it's at the bottom, can it go up? Can it fly up? It can't. All right, it can't fly up. All right, it cannot fly up. Yeah, very good, Sean, Xiaowei, John. Yeah, it can't fly up. Most of the time for self-pollination, the anther is actually higher than the stigma, so that it will drop down. Okay, it drop down. Some of you are talking about can travel by wind, but the thing is, if you look at whole flower, right, the whole flower itself, the anther and the filament, anther filament, stigma, all these are inside the flower. If they're hiding inside the flower, all right, if they're hiding inside the flower, then they can't, wind is very hard to go into the flower. Oh yes, I'm talking. Oh dear, you can't hear me. Probably our moderators will help you, all right? So first thing, can it be self-pollinated? This would be a no, right? It cannot be pollinated because the stigma, right? The stigma is higher. If it's going to be higher, all right, it will be harder for the pollen from the anther to go upwards, right? Because the height difference, so will prevent it from falling down, right? Because it can't go over. So far, so good. All right, so far, so good. I hope everything is okay. Yeah, okay, good. Then let's move on. Let's go. Okay, the next one. Yeah, grapes and mango. Grapes and mango. Okay, what do we have? They tell you have grapes, you have mango, then they're asking you what is the difference? Right, how are they different? Take note, in terms of method of seed dispersal. How are they dispersed in the first place? Right, by animals. But both of them are by animals, then how are they different? Right, so you all can note, all of you can note a difference between them is that mango has a larger seed. Grapes have small seeds. Right, so they are looking at methods of seed dispersal. Yeah, they are looking at methods of seed dispersal and not, how many seeds do they have. Right, so it's very good. A lot of you can tell me this very well, right? So grapes have small seeds, mango have big seeds, large seeds. Okay, so grapes, well, they are small, right? So they'll be swallowed down, right? Swallowed down by the animal and eventually pass on in the droppings because the seeds cannot be digested. As for mango, they are too big to be consumed, too big to be swallowed. So they will just eat the flesh. The animals will just eat the flesh and then discard the seed. Like throw it. All right, what's next? Why? Okay, now this question. Hey. Why the grapes have a higher chance of reproducing? Why do we put down E and R here is because they really give you the claim. Okay, the claim in the question. The claim here, okay, this whole thing here would be the claim. Right, the claim. The claim is grapes have a higher chance of reproduction, but mango has a lower chance. And they ask you to explain why. So many of you is able to tell me that they have grapes has more seeds. When they have more seeds. So when we are answering such questions, right, we will answer directly to in terms of grapes, because they're asking why grapes can do this and not why mango cannot do that. All right, so we will focus on the grapes in terms of answering, but do take note of one very, very important thing. This is the part that many schools actually take out or rather deduct marks or refuse to award marks is because there's a lack of comparative terms. Right, that you need to show comparison in your answer. Why and how do we know that we need to show comparison? Is because of the word higher. Right, so it means that you need to show comparison. Right, you cannot just say that our grapes has many seeds. If you say that grapes has many seeds, you will not get the marks. So you have to state down in a comparative way. So you can say that grapes has many seeds while mango only have one seed, or you can say that grapes has more seeds than mango. All right, so there's a few ways of writing, but over here we just put it down simply so you can see that it's comparing. Grapes has many seeds while mangoes have one seed. Right, so our statement there is for you to see and see that okay, we are comparing. Right, do remember you need to compare. Okay, so grapes has many seeds, mango only have one seed. So having many seeds, so there will be a reason. Many seeds will actually help you to increase chance of reproduction because there are more seeds, so chances of them germinating and growing into a new plant will be higher. All right, so they actually have a lot of seeds. They actually have the most number of seeds, right? The fruit that has the most number of seeds in this world. Can you imagine one fruit itself contain 1,000 seeds? Oh my god! And another one, the largest seed in the world, the Cocodima, which is the sea coconut. Right, this island here is called, what is it called? Seychelles Islands. Right, so it takes about 10 years for it to be ripened. Oh my god! Imagine if you want to eat it, you need for 10 years to eat it. Okay, never mind. Okay, let's play one more example. Okay, one more example. Susan, what is Susan doing? Susan observed and recorded the number of wild plants, X and Y, right, on a piece of island. Okay, so what's next? You notice that something else happened, right? A few months later, she observed the piece of land again and she did her observation here. So what you notice is that, the first observation, all right, this was initially, and this is actually the parent plant. All right, you can see that it started off from here. A few months later, you notice that they are either further down the river, going downstream, right, or even and then you have the plant Y that's randomly everywhere. So you can actually look at plant X first. Plant X is easier to see, all right. Even if you don't look at the question at the bottom, you can infer a few things from the diagram. One, right, the triangles. What you notice that they are all along the riverbank. Very good. Like some of you in the chat can tell me, like Renkai or Beining, is it? Yeah, they're all. You can notice that they are all along the riverbank. All right, they're all along the riverbank. Then the next one is what you have here. The next one is the circles, right? You have plant Y. Plant Y, where are they? They are randomly everywhere. Right? They are all randomly everywhere. All right, so they ask you to, in this question, state the method of dispersal and explain your answer. So this goes back down to your CR. Right, I know there's some answers coming in, but let me see what you have. Okay. Ziyi, right? Right. Ziyi says that it's going to be for plant X is by animals. But if you look carefully for plant X, which is all the triangles, okay, all the triangles, right, is all along the riverbank. So if they are all along the riverbank, naturally it will be by water. Right? Naturally it'll be by water. Okay. Other than that, the next thing, how do we know it's by water? We need to use evidence, right, and reasoning to explain this. So we talk about they are mainly found on the riverside. So they actually grow along the riverbank. So it shows that it's water dispersed by water. Then for plant wide, I know plant wide there's a few answers, right? There's a few ways of answering, but what I have here is actually looking at wind. All right, that if there's no right or no, to what I understand is that it can have two answers. You can say it's wind, right? They didn't state down wind direction. If they didn't state down wind direction, you can say that the plant Y are actually dispersed by wind, right? The plant Y is being dispersed by wind. Okay, plant Y, you can argue that it's being dispersed by animals, but there's like no information about animals on this piece of land. All right, there's no information about this piece of land. All right, if there's no information about the piece of land, know whether animals or not, sometimes it makes it a little bit more difficult to go and pinpoint to whether is this going to be by wind or by animals. Okay, so it's more likely to be by wind because wind direction can change at any point of time. Right, so that's how the seeds can be dispersed in different directions. All right, because they are found in both sides. Bubble tree. Right, so shall we look at bubble tree? You have 1 minute. Let's go. Some of you don't know. All right, how do we actually look at this? You have a group of students looking at 5 identical ripe fruits as shown. Right, place them at different temperatures. Hey, they tell you this very important thing. They tell you that they are being placed at different temperatures. Then the next clue is effect of temperature. So this here will tell you simply that temperature is going to be the change variable. I'll put change variable as CV. All right, change variable. Do you still remember what's change variable? Still remember or don't remember? Hello, do you still remember what's change variable? The variable that is being changed, yes, Sean. Yeah, basically you are changing the variable to test the aim of the experiment, right? So what are you changing in this question? The temperature, the only thing that has to be changed. Yay, the only thing that can be changed. Then what do you think is going to be the measured variable? MV. I'm going to call measured variable as MV. What is being measured to actually get the results of the experiment? The time taken to split, very good. You are able to tell me that is the duration, right? Time taken, literally the time taken for the fruit to split, right? To break open. MV is music video. No, it's not music video. Okay, so what do we see about temperature here is that if you look at how it was being, how the fruits are being tested out, you realize that the temperature here, this is increasing, right? Temperature increases for higher temperature. And what do you notice about the time taken for it to split? The time taken for it to split actually decreases, right? It became faster. So the shorter time, right? So your answer here would be number 2. Yay. Very good. Most of you got it correct. Oh, so you are so nice. You are so good. Okay, guys, let's move on to one more example. So same thing here. We are going to look at which one will split open with the greatest force. Which one do you think? Right, you're able to tell me fruit E, like some of you actually I see actually tell me that it was being scattered to the furthest, right, furthest distance, right, furthest away. So that's how we are able to see that it's being split with the greatest force, right? So information that you can extract out would be here, right? It's being scattered furthest away. So this would be your evidence. But we can't be just putting down as it is being the seed was being scattered to 4 meters. You will not get your marks. You have to say that it's being scattered to the furthest distance. Right? Furthest distance. All right, so we know it's fruit E. So evidence, right? Evidence, I'll help you with this. Evidence would be falling under here. Like the seeds are scattered furthest away. All right, so this would be your evidence. All right, this would be your evidence. I'm going to put evidence as E. Right, so that's how it's able to see that this is being scattered. This is being split with the greatest force, because only the greatest force will actually be able to push the seeds out to the furthest distance. Bubble for coming up. I'm going to launch our bubble now. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh yeah. Now let's see now. Most of you got it correct. Yeah. But I realized that a handful of you chose option 2 and 4. Okay, let's see what's wrong with 2 and 4 later. So first things first is let's see what we have. Okay, Cindy conducted an experiment, right, on the seed dispersal using a toy that she made. She went to the field. Why did I say field? Is because when we talk about field, it's always an open area. Right, this is more like an open area. Oops, open. Okay, open space means that there will be wind, right? And what did you do is, what happened here is she conducted this same experiment, right? Repeated her experiment. Right, over here, let me highlight for you so you can see clearly. Right, repeated her experiment at the same time over the next 2 days. So this tells you one thing. The change variable here will be the wind. Let me put down here. Change variable is actually the wind. You can even write down as the speed of the wind or wind speed. Right, the wind speed. Okay. Because if you look at it, on different days, day 1, the toy will only travel 2.6 meters. On day 2, right, it travel 1.8 meters. Means it travel a shorter distance, right? If the wind and everything is the same, all weather conditions, the wind and whatnot is the same, then it should travel the same distance, right? But it didn't. And on the 3rd day, wow, suddenly travel so far away now, 4.2 meters, right? So the distance that it travels is different, and everything else is kept the same. Everything is the same. So the only thing that is going to be the change variable here would be the wind speed, right? The speed of the wind. So in order for this toy, right, apparently this toy is trying to pretend or mimic to be a fruit, right? How is it able to be traveled or dispersed by wind? It must have all the characteristics of wind. Now, characteristics that helps it to be dispersed by wind. Right? So in order for it to be dispersed by wind, naturally, being light is a function. All right, it has to be one of the characteristics. It cannot be heavy. Imagine if it's heavy. Oh, I can't fly. I'm too heavy. I cannot fly. All right. So it needs to be light. And of course, must have the wing-like structure, right? To help it stay afloat in the air for a longer period of time. Right. So your answer will be number 3. Some of you choose B and C. Sticky and hook-like structure. When you say sticky and hook-like structure, this two would be more referring towards animals. Right, this will be more for animals. This is also for animals. Okay, but there's no indication of animals here. It's just conducting in on the field. All right. I hope I answered your question. Hey, y'all get this clear? Because these are one of those kinds of questions that usually comes out in school exams, and then you probably need to have some thinking about it. So why did we say that the seed has this wing-like structure and is light? So why do we actually say that? Is because we know that from the results, right, is being the toy actually landed further away. It didn't land, it didn't, when you drop it, it didn't just drop down on the floor, it didn't just drop down on the ground like this. It was actually away from Cindy. Right? If you drop it and it drops down on you, then obviously it's not dispersed by wind. So evidence here will be the toy landed further away, land a far distance away from where it was dropped. Right? Means that it has to be blown away by the wind. So that's how you link your part A with your part B together. Okay, so let's move on to 7, example 7. All right, so Cindy concluded a few things. All right, she concluded that the seeds of this particular tree, right, has a similar method to the seed dispersal, right, to what she did earlier. So what she did earlier was the wind dispersal, you know. Then now she concluded this particular tree, the seeds have a similar dispersal method. How this method helps the tree to ensure continuity of their own kind. We don't use overgrowth here. All right, Zachary, yes, you're correct. All right, we are looking at when we disperse seeds, reasons of dispersing seeds is to avoid or to reduce overcrowding. All right, or even to have no overcrowding. Best is no overcrowding, so that the seeds are all scattered far away from each other. They are not growing so closely to each other. Right, so we want it to have no overcrowding. Right, the idea here, why no overcrowding, is to reduce competition. A competition mainly for 3 things: water, sunlight, and mineral salts. But I would need you to take note of one thing, right, that has been experiencing over the many years, is that some schools will insist that you need to include space. Right, so to some schools, certain schools, they insist that you must be reduce overcrowding for 4 things: space, sunlight, water, and mineral salts. All right, why space is because if they're growing too closely to each other, the roots will be like fighting for water. All right, they'll be fighting for water, and they'll be competing for the space for them to actually grow in size. All right, so take note that only certain schools insist that you need to write out as competition for 4 items: water, sunlight, mineral salts, and space. Some schools will just, or rather, most schools will just be competing for 3 things: sunlight, water, and minerals. Any questions so far? Okay, I see someone is asking me, what does it mean by overcrowding? Right, what does it mean by overcrowding? Overcrowding is where you have a lot of plants, or seeds that are like gathered, like growing very, very closely together, and end up they are not growing very well. Right, a lot of plants, very good. Charan, right? If I pronounce your name correctly, right? You have too many plants growing at the same space, so end up they are not able to grow well. If they are not able to grow well, they will be starting to compete for all these things. And in fact, for plants that are overcrowded, how do you know that they are overcrowded? Is that they will be growing very thin and tall. Right? The plants will be thin and tall. If the plants are not overcrowded, they are actually shorter and the stems are actually thicker. Right, so that's how one way, if they give you diagrams like this and they ask you, okay, which one is overcrowded? Maybe, oh, the one that's tall and thin, those are overcrowded. Right, then the ones that are shorter and thicker in the stem size, those are not overcrowded. Right, those that are overcrowded because they need to compete for sunlight, so they are trying to outgrow each other in terms of height. Right, so they try and outgrow each other in terms of height. Is it like, okay, wait, Leah is asking, is it like overpopulation? Something similar, but overpopulation, we tend to use it more for animals. Actually, for all species, but plants wise is slightly more specific in terms of overcrowding. Someone asked me, is this the last one? How you know? The slides on top. All right, we have one more bubble. We have one more bubble. Right. Yeah, one more bubble question. Let's go. You have 1 minute. Okay, so that's like question 5. Okay, the last bubble question. Last bubble question, huh? So what we have here, okay, two possible reasons why day 3 results is very different. Day 3 results is very different because if you notice carefully, the distance traveled by the seed is, by the toy is much further away. So it shows one thing. It is stronger, right? The wind on day 3 is stronger, right? The wind on day 3 is stronger. What else? Wind blowing, wind direction, right? If you look carefully, when looking at wind direction, if you are blowing against you, if let's say a very strong wind is blowing towards you, can you move forward easily? Can you? Think about it. You can't, right? You'll be like, the wind is blowing at me. I want to go forward. I cannot go forward. Right? It's very difficult to move forward. It's the same for the toy. So if the wind is blowing against you, against the toy cannot go forward easily. Right? Oh no. Darius is like, how are we supposed to know that? Well, sometimes we need a little bit of thinking. So on day 2 itself, you notice that the distance traveled is shorter. So it could be day 2, the wind is not so strong. It also could be because the wind is actually blowing against the toy. So instead of going forward, it goes backwards. Or it's trying hard to go forward, but the wind is pushing it backwards. Right? So that will give you C to be a correct possible answer. All right, so answer is number 3. I think some of you chose 4. If it's going against on day 3, your distance won't be as far.